right, guys. So today I'm going to talk about what is proper homeopathy. This is part 2 of this series. And I'm going to be talking based on the Organon, which is the book written by the founder of homeopathy, Samuel Hahnemann. You can look it up. That is true. And you can also just get a copy of that and double check everything that I'm saying, or the Organon is also available online. You can have a look at it and you can confirm everything that I tell you in this video. So what is proper homeopathy? I talked about the 3 principles or 3 or 4 principles last time. And today we're just going to continue with that. We're going to look at aphorism 18. Aphorisms are like little mini essays in the book that's broken down into like paragraphs, and they are numbered. So we have 18, 27, and 202. There's so many we could look at. I mean, I have many of them, but yeah, I've chosen these 3 for today. So let's see. Let's start with 18. From this indubitable truth that besides the totality of symptoms, nothing can by any means be discovered in disease wherewith they could express their need of aid, it follows undeniably that the sum of all symptoms in each individual case must be the sole indication, the sole guide to direct us in the choice of remedy. I think we talked about that last time. So you need to look at all the information about a patient to prescribe a remedy in homeopathy, right? And 27 is continuing with this principle. The curative power of medicines, therefore, depends on their symptoms similar to the disease, but superior in strength, so that each individual case of disease is most surely, radically, rapidly, and permanently annihilated and removed only by a medicine capable of producing in the most similar and complete manner the totality of the symptoms. So we are confirming again. It's in the Organon in several places in the Organon that you need to choose the remedy based on the totality of the symptoms. What's totality? All the symptoms. That's totality. All the characteristics you can gather from a patient. So if it's like in multiple places in the Organon, then the people who reject this principle, they have the burden of proof. They have the burden of proof. They have to tell us why they don't subscribe to this principle. Why is it better? Why? How? In what way is it more effective? How are they getting more success in their practice? And we need the evidence and the mechanism by which it works better if you ignore these principles. If you're not a homeopath, I was talking to homeopaths, I guess. So if you're not a homeopath, then who are the people who ignore the basic rules of homeopathy laid down by the founder? Well, there are many factions in homeopathy, and people who want to reform homeopathy and renew it and make it into a new science, more enlightened or something. And let's just call those the woke homeopaths. Woke is a good term for that, I think, because it's almost like liberal wokeness found its way into homeopathy. because these people who want to ignore the basic rules of homeopathy are like the woke people. You know, they say like, oh, you're allowed to do whatever you want in homeopathy. Um, there are no rules. Come on. If we feel good doing something, if it feels good, then you should be allowed to do it. Okay? If it makes you feel good inside, then you should be allowed to do it. And it's the same with the patients, right? If the patient feels good with the homeopath who is giving them all the bullshit about woke stuff like, you know, new age woke stuff, you know, instead of a homeopathic consultation, and they're amazed by it and mesmerized. And then it makes them feel good, and then that's good homeopathy. Okay, then that's also the woke mentality, right? It makes me feel good, so it's good. You know, if it makes me feel good, then it must be good. If it makes me feel good talking about it, then it has to be good. There's no avenue where it cannot be good. Something that makes me feel good cannot be good. There's no. All right, I'm going to stop with that right now, but you get the idea, right? So basically, there are lots of homeopaths out there who ignore the basic rules of homeopathy, and I'm giving them to you based on the book written by the founder. And of course, it's kind of boring, right? It's kind of boring. Um, but if you're interested in homeopathy, this is homeopathy, okay? Not star signs and whatever and chakras. This is homeopathy. And also, you will not have success if you treat people based on woke stuff, like star signs and stuff like that. You will have much more success if you treat people based on the principles. I know it's boring, especially if you're a patient right now or just interested in homeopathy a little bit. This kind of stuff is boring, but it is what it is. This is homeopathy, and this channel is about homeopathy, unfortunately. So let's go on. We're going to go on to aphorism 202, I guess. You know, I just pulled these out randomly from the book, but it could have been a more logically arranged thing. But let's just go on to 202. If the old school physician should now destroy the local symptom by the topical application of external remedies, under the belief that he thereby cures the whole disease, nature makes up for its loss by rousing the internal malady and the other symptoms that previously existed in a latent state, side by side with the local affection, that is to say, she increases the internal disease. When this occurs, it is usual to say that, though incorrectly, that the local affection has been driven back into the system or upon the nerves by the external remedies. So this is talking about suppression. It's saying that if you remove an external symptom, like as you put a steroid cream on a skin eruption or something, a skin disease, then it's going to be driven internally, and it's going to cause more problems, some more serious problems within the body. That is the homeopathic principle, which is actually true. It's it's actually how the human body works. Okay, and no, and it might sound weird, and homeopaths were the ones who actually identified this. I'm not aware of any other systems where they talk about this. So this is called suppression, and that's why you don't want to get rid of single symptoms on the periphery of your body. And this can take place. This can also take place if you give wrong remedies, right? If you give if you give remedies based on one symptom, like you have a wart or something, and you give a remedy which is very highly indicated, strongly indicated for warts, just based on that, what is might happen is that the wart will disappear and you will develop more serious problems internally. So this occurs also with homeopathic remedies. It's called suppression. And of course, the way not to do this is to give remedies based on the totality of the symptoms, just like we said in 27. In this case, there's no suppression, and the action of the remedy is towards the periphery. If you stimulate the organism holistically, right? So it gets rid of the more serious problem inside and pushes it to the periphery. So you might your depression might get better, but you might develop skin problems like warts or something. And again, so this is the same thing applies when it comes to the woke homeopaths. The people we talked about, of course, they refuse to adhere to this, or they on the level of slogans. It's like an empty slogan that they it's like a mantra that they say, oh, no suppression, no suppression. But they either don't adhere to this principle, or they talk about it, but in practice they don't actually adhere to this, right? So because why? Because in woke homeopathy, you're allowed to do whatever you want. If you feel good by suppressing the patient, right, then you should be allowed to do it, right? So I just want to tell you, it's up to you to make up your mind. If you're a patient and you're looking for a homeopath, trying to decide between homeopaths and differentiate, and you're trying to pick one, just my advice would be really careful. You have to be really careful. Because if I'm right, if what I'm saying is true, you might go to get treatment, homeopathic treatment, and then you get one of these woke guys, and then they do all kinds of crap to you, like this, right? They suppress you, and they break all the other rules of homeopathy, and then you're gonna end up a completely confused with a completely confused body, right? And a messed up case. In homeopathy, we say a messed up case is a confused case, is where wrong homeopathy has been applied too much. And now, even if you go to get correct treatment, it's going to be harder. So this is really risky. I would recommend double checking the person you're going to visit for treatment, and double checking whether he applies these principles. Okay. And if you're a homeopath listening to this is correct homeopathy. And of course, a lot of you are going to say this is wrong, and classical homeopaths are in a cult. Even big names like Jeremy Sure, I've heard him make fun of classical homeopathy, like strict classical homeopathy. And so you're just making a fool out of yourself. The burden of proof is on you to tell us why it is a good idea to discard the principles laid down by the founder of homeopathy. So you have to tell us, right? Feel free to comment below this video, or you can come on my channel and debate. We will never do that. So thank you for listening, and we'll continue with the other paragraphs next week. Thank you for listening, and take care.